Good evening, everyone. My my dinner took just a little bit longer than I had thought it would. I appreciate you guys being patient, waiting for me. I have what do I have? 1948D. Let me change the title here. Reveal number 451 is a 1948D roll. Okay. Let me get my phone to a point where it's not going to disturb. All right. Good deal. All right, this is a pretty decent looking roll. We've got some goodies to discover, hopefully, here. I've got them out now. And here we go. Coin number one, Parviz. Parviz will get coin number one here. Let me see if I can find. Here it is. Okay, got to get that ready. Pick up coin number one, put it under the scope, and see what happens. We get blurs. Hang on a second. There we go. What do we see? Well, what we see appears to be a minor repunchment mark. Yep. We've got an RPM here. This one has a pretty nice split in the lower serif. It has a hit right on the bottom, but you can also see a little split on the upper serif. The split in the lower serif you can see has this angle to it, but you can see it's cut right through here. And then the upper serif has this little extra knob right up here on the top. And if I get it in the light just perfectly, you will be able to see right there. There we go. Now you can see the actual split right there. So that's the Hill Brian. Oh, we got Tim, Dennis. I forgot to say hello to everybody. We have Parvis here. We have Sureg. We have Steven. A lot of people. All right. So Parvis's coin turns out to be our first RPM in the roll. Let's see if there's anything else to this coin that we need to be paying attention to. Take a look around here on the obverse and the reverse. And I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary otherwise. So we have first coin in the roll turns out to be our first die variety for the roll. Hello, Doug Harding. And coin number two now comes out to be for Stanley Zokowski. Stan the man, what does he get? And let me turn the light down just a little bit. There we go. Set up my focus a little better. And this one looks like it's a minor repunchment mark as well. Yeah, we have a little split in the upper serif there. You can see it right there. Plus the little fibers or whatever that is right next to the D. But that is a split in the upper serif. Don't have much in the lower serif, but we do have that split in the upper serif. There is a split in the lower serif. It's just a little more difficult to see. But it is right here. Right here. We've got that split in the lower serif and this split in the upper serif. So it's kind of just the opposite of the previous one that we had. So this is our die 2 for this roll. Coin number 2. There's that. And let's take a look at the rest of the coin. See if we see anything else that we need to discuss. Let's see here. Nothing else on this coin, but we do have the RPM for Stanley. Hello, Coin Junkie. And Klaus is here too. There's Malcolm. Malcolm up next. Malcolm gets this coin. This one's got a little bit of spottiness to it. And it does not appear to be an RPM. It does appear to have some fuzz on the date here. Let's get that stuff off the date. Not a doubled I. Eric, you thinking double die? It looks like it could possibly be a double die. We've got the upward curve to the horizontal parts of the letters here on we and on trust. A little bit of extra thickness here in the ball of the R. U looks a little bit thick. I don't really see it that much in the date though. I think we might have to pass on this one being a double die. And check the inside of that mint mark again. So it looks like we could have a west RPM here. And bring the light up a little bit, make it easier to see. No. Okay, I'm psyching myself out thinking things. So there we go. Let me turn this back down. Okay. Well, coin number 3 is going to turn out to be normal on the obverse. Let's check the reverse real quick. I don't think 48D is known for having any double die reverses. Eric, can you check for me? I'm not highly familiar with the issue. I don't see them very often. They're not all that easy to find. Here's number 4. Mr. Fletcher. Jim. Let's see here. Got nothing on the date and mint mark area. Okay, so we think this coin number 3 could be a double die. I'm going to set it out. What's Malcolm's coin? We'll set it out to see. See, this one's definitely not a double die. It has a little bit of a curve on the E there. I'll come around and check the reverse now. See, we see anything there. Gonna need to actually back this out a little bit more. It's a little bit too close for comfort. There we go. Now, let me do this right. Hang on. There we go. Had to bend things around just a little bit. Get it just right. Okay, Jim's coin is a normal one. That's coin number 4. Now coin number 5. Mark. Mark Thomas. And for some reason this one came in out of focus. Okay. There we go. Don't see anything there. Okay, could this be another example of the same die that Malcolm had? Looks like a bit of a possible light class 6 double die obverse. It's got the same stuff. The outer edges of these letters are concave. Just a little bit of concavity going on there. It's almost like you're pulling taffy from the corners. Looks like it's pulled out just a little bit from the corners. You look up here, and you get a much better sense of it on the E and we. It looks like the E is not straight like it should be. It looks like it's been pulled up at the corners. And the T, you can see how it's kind of wrapped up a little bit at the corners. Oh, Kelly Ray. Oh, Papa Giorgio. So, I think this could be another example of the die that we've got pulled out for Malcolm already. So, let me see what I can find for a marker. Okay, there's an old die scratch running right up along the side of the 9 right there. And let's see. I think there's another one on the top of the 1. It's this thing right here, right up here on the top of the 1. So we'll take a look at coin number 3 and see if we can get a face mash on these. Get a match up. Okay, there's your die scratch on the 9. It's not quite the same though. Yeah, I don't think this is the same die. So we'll have to hold both of these out. I'll just make a pile of possible DDO. Alright, and for Mark, let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse on his coin. Just a little bit too far. There's a big die dot on the reverse that we can use as a reverse marker to see if these dies are the same. I don't think they are, though. The obverse didn't look the same between them. Hello, Otis. So I'm going to put coin number 5 aside so that we can look at it later on. Get coin number 6 out here. This one's for Stanley. Let's see what Stanley gets. Oh, there we go. There's a nice RPM. That one's easy to see. So that one's going to be different from the others that we have plugged away at so far. I think what I'm going to end up having to do here, it looks like we have a very well mixed roll. This one looks like it could possibly be the beginning of a double die obverse as well. I'm kind of leaning away from the double die part of it. This could be a master die issue. I'm not very used to 1948, so please forgive as I learn my way through this. This is a very late die state reverse. It is a nice RPM though. Nice double split serif RPM. Let's take a look now at coin number 7. Number 7, Adam. What does Mr. Chambers get? I'll find out if I can ever find the coin down here. Okay, it is another RPM. You can see that split in the upper serif really well, but it has a hit on the lower serif, which kind of detracts from the overall appearance of it, but the split on the lower serif is actually pretty nice. A little bit of a spotty coin. Let's check the reverse now. Very late die state reverse. I think this is the same die as the previous coin we just saw. So that's for Adam. Coin number 7 now. Here's coin number 8. Number 8 goes to Carl. Carl. We may have another RPM here in the it could be an extra curve to the north. Where I'm looking is right here. It looks like there could be something extra to the north there. You turn it in different angles and check it out. See, it's actually standing up a little bit right there. There's a little bit of a extra relief right there around the top of the mint mark. It's kind of hard to tell without looking through the microscope at it in 3D. There's a little die chip inside the 4. Nice little die gouge next to the upper left of the 8. So we'll keep those as markers for this possibly being an RPM. It's got the same thing on the LIB and on the E. I'm thinking that we're chasing a goose here. I'm going to hold that one out to the side because it may or may not be anything. I'll have to see another example of that die to see for sure what I'm looking at or what I'm looking for. Here's Jim Fletcher. Jim Fletcher gets an RPM. That's a nice one. I do believe this is the same as the other ones that we've been seeing that have the very late die state reverse. We'll flip it over and we'll see. If this has a very late die state reverse, it's probably the same die. Let me find a marker that I can use. Oh, that little scuffy stuff right next to the D can be used as a marker in this die state. So perhaps and possibly maybe. Let's see. Keep looking here. Let's see if I can locate any good markers. There's a really small die dot between the 1 and the 9. There's also a little bit heavier die dot down below the D. All of that becomes non-apparent as you're moving the coin around, so they're very, very shallow. There's not much to them. Let's see. Well, we know it's an RPM. It's got a die crack on the forehead and through the hair, and a pretty heavy die chip, it looks like, above the ear. These are the kind of things that happen when you're trying to attribute die varieties and you start getting through a die variety, looking at a catalog full of die varieties, and you're trying to match little teensy tiny fingerprint marks, basically, of the die from one coin to the next to the next. A lot of times your best markers are on the opposite side of the coin, which it doesn't help a whole lot. It does, but I mean it helps, but not a whole lot. I don't see any markers on this side. Nothing that jumps out at me. There's a die dot above that N in cent, that dark spot. That's all I really see here. There's a really tiny die scratch running through the U of pluribus right here. That's something else that's not going to transfer from one die state to the next. It's too small. Not much here. Work definitely cut out for us on this one. Alright. Well, that's a Jim Fletcher RPM. Kelly Ray's saying hi to everybody. Here's Mary. One for Mary here. Let's see what Mary gets. You know, this one is not, apparently not a die variety at all. Not the cleanest looking coin either. I mean, it's an uncirculated 1948 D, but other than that, not one of the better looking coins I've seen in this roll. Everybody say hello, Eric's wife. That's only our second coin in this roll that is not a die variety. So, seems that we have a pretty good handle on getting good out of the roll. I'm not sure about this one. That one does not look like anything except a very late die state obverse. So flip it over to the reverse and we see the same thing. Very late die state reverse. And there's Mr. Crowell. Good day, sir. Let's see what we have next here. This one doesn't appear to be anything special. Not in the date and mint mark area anyway. Okay. Very late die state again. This one's got a heavy die dot in the A. You can see it right there. Right here. This is the kind of thing that you look for right here when you're looking for markers. That's something that's going to be more or less permanent. So when it occurred, it probably stayed on that die throughout the die's remaining life. Oh, Crispy and Tim. That's coin number 12. Now coin number 13 for Parvez. Let's see what we get on this one. Oh, nothing there. Pretty late die state again. A coin that's trying to turn brown. These look pretty nice when you back away from them. When you get really close, they kind of look ugly because they're such late die state. You're not going to recognize the weakness in the design when you're just looking at the coin. It's going to be when you get really up close to it. It's when you're going to see all that little bitty flaws. There's one for Carl now. Let's see what we got for Carl here. Alright, still seeing nothing on the mint mark area. Date and mint mark, got nothing on that one. I think those ones we had pulled aside as double dies are going to end up not being double dies. I end up having to put those back in the batch. I'll leave them out and let Eric take a look at them, but I think they're just normal. Well, there's Roger Borland. Hello, Roger. I'll put Carl's coin away. Move on to number 15 for Yeoman. Got 4 rolls coming up tonight. Then we got 4 rolls coming up tomorrow. I got to get them all finished because I'm going to Florida beginning early Friday morning. Now, early for me is not the same as early for people like Eric, but leaving the house early for me is 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Eric, if he wanted to get up early to travel somewhere, he would probably get up at 3 o'clock. That's early for Eric. Paul? Paul, Mr. Hampton. What do you get, buddy? Well, I haven't run into another die variety here recently. Got one like the first 6, 7 coins in the roll, and then it just kind of petered out on us. Drive early, sleep late. So wait a minute. You get in the car to drive and you sleep late? Are we driving by Braille? Feeling the dots on the road keep you in line? Here's a number 17. Mr. Patillo. Chucky Chuck. Yeah. Got a nobody here too. And a mint mark. Nothing on the eye. Nice clean looking coin though. Very nice BU coin. It's a little bit earlier dice date than some of these other ones we've been looking at. But we don't have any doubling on this one. Eric's afraid I'm going to keep him up past his bedtime. I do have the ability to entertain myself. It's when Eric is here at my house, he feels obligated to stay up really late because I do. Like, dude, man, bow out and go to sleep when you want to. Just because I stay up until 2 a.m. doesn't mean you need to. Here's number 19, Mary. Mary, Mary. Here we go. Now we're back into an RPM. That one has the lower split serif. Nice low RPM for Mary. We're halfway through the roll near it. Still don't see anything on the reverse for anyone. Could be possible there isn't anything to see on the reverses. There are no known double die reverses for 1948D. There's one for Sissy. And Miss Sissy gets a nobody here. Oh, wait. Yeah. I think it could be a very, very minor eyelid, but I think I was seeing things. Let's move on over to the reverse. Well, this was a pretty coin until I got to the reverse, and the reverse has a few little stains on it. They're not actually spots because they're not active. They're stains. I prefer to call them stains because they haven't really affected the surface of the coin. It's just something sitting on top of the surface that's made it change color a little. Whereas spots, like carbon spots, are a fleck of dirt or dust or something that gets on the coin that stays there, and it actively changes, it alters the surface of the coin in a not good way. So there's a nice little double split serif. And this one is for Malcolm. And we have a little tiny split on the upper, and we got a decent split on the lower. And no doubled eye. The rest of the obverse is normal. Let's see what we have on the reverse. Let's not seeing much of anything here on the reverse. But we do have an RPM for Malcolm. That's coin number 21. Now coin number 22. This one goes to Eric. And Eric that appears to be a normal coin. I think it's a normal coin. Let's see. Yeah, all else being equal, I think this is just a 48D Lincoln cent. Which 48Ds are kind of cool. I like 48D. It's a nice issue. They are not ones you're going to find easily. Even dig into a bag of wheat pennies. Your 48D is a little less common than a number of the other dates. Here's one for Otis. Otis gets a split serif RPM, but you also have a hit on the mint mark. So this part right here is damage on the mint mark. This right up here is your RPM. And I'll take a look around the rest of the obverse, and I don't see anything here of great collectible value. Now we do have more rolls coming up tonight, just like I mentioned. One of them is a 1955 Philadelphia. Going to be doing that one next. I would probably take out, for the most part, possibility of finding the double die, the big double die obverse, but we've got a number of double die obverses. Some of them quite scarce, and we also have a double die reverse to be looking for. So 55S is not a complete loss when you don't have the big DDO. Okay, we might have that proven to us in this roll. Although none of them are extremely common. All the more minor ones aren't exactly rare either. So we'll see what we see. I invite you to join me as soon as this show is over. I'll be taking off and coming right back on in a different broadcast that you'll find scheduled in the channel. Here's number 25. We're halfway through the roll now. Looks like I'll probably be doing that almost on time, maybe 5 minutes late. Oh, there we go. There's a nice RPM. You see how the top is kind of built up, and you have a split in the serif there, and you've got extra height to the top. There's another D under there. Let's see. Oh, and you can see it pretty well on the bottom too there. There we go. So, oh, I can see Klaus here. Klaus gets a nice RPM. Awesome. Very nice part of it is I enjoy seeing I enjoy seeing your comments. I enjoy seeing constructive criticism. I enjoy seeing whatever you guys see that I'm doing right. And I also invite you to let me know when you think I'm doing something that's counterproductive. It's another RPM there. Because I like making this show exactly what you need. That's the way I like doing it. I want my show to be what you need in your collecting life. Because, I mean, let's face it, you're addicted and I'm your dealer. I love it that way, right? I don't know which ones of these are known variety, which ones are not, because I'm not familiar with what they're listed as. All I can do is tell you that, yes, you do have a double die. Yes, you do have an RPM. I don't know which one until I actually start looking in the books. Look at my files, look at my coins, look at the things that I've got around here so that I can work to identify the ones that I see as double dies or RPMs. Eric is probably 85-90% of the work in doing that. Some of them I remember and I can give you a die number right away. Some of them are nice enough that I want to look them up immediately. Your addiction got you in the doghouse. You think you got fleas now? Oh boy. You know they make sprays for that. I think they got things that I can put on your neck too. It's like the little front line things. I could get your fleas out. Make the fleas go away. So, when it comes to meeting Kelly Ray's hubby It's kind of like somebody's drug dealer meeting their family. How that's going to go. I think hubby will probably want to punch my lights out. Alright, Taco John gets a normal coin there. Let's go to number 29. Carl. 1 for Carl. And we have what appears to be a normal, very late die state obverse. Oh, hubby's not going to be there? Wow, very late die state. I like meeting all parts of the process when I can, but if that part of the process is not going to be there, I guess we'll have more coin talk and talk shop and not bore the hell out of somebody. Because that's what would happen if my wife were to show up with us. That is a split lower serif RPM. When I turn it in the light just like that, you can see it's a little light right down here. That little thing right there. That's an extra serif on the bottom of the D. Makes it a doubled D. Doubled D meaning an RPM. D over D. And RPM, again, repunched mint mark. It's where when they actually created the die, they did not put the mint mark in the die immediately. They were stored without mint marks. And then when these were all made in Philadelphia, and when the Denver Mint would order a new die, or a package of dies, the die workers in the Philadelphia Mint would take the dies that were going to Denver, and they'd pull out a little punch tool, kind of like a little leather punch and a tiny hammer, and they would hammer in the mint mark into the die, so that when the die showed up in Denver, they would already have the mint marks in them. There's another RPM there, split lower serif, 1948D. And so all repunch mint marks were created in Philadelphia. The possibility of repunch mint marks ended at the end of 1989. In 1990, they changed the process of how they made dies, and they actually placed the mint mark into the master die, which was then transferred by hubbing instead of hand punched. There's one for DN. Let's see what we have here. Oh, another nice, that's a pretty one. Nice little RPM right there for DN, split lower serif. Very heavy split lower serif. It's a nice one. But anyway, so this is why we can classify repunch mint marks by the die they were made from. Because if you take a tool that you're going to stamp into things, say that you're going to take a hammer and you're going to hit something with the hammer where you're going to leave the hammer's impression into what you hit. You take that hammer, then you use an engraving tool to chisel your initials into the very end of the hammer. And then you walk around, you beat something with that hammer and put the impression of that hammer onto what you're beating. You know, you can hit a piece of wood, you can hit the siding on your house if it's not vinyl, and leave the impression of that hammer. You know, you've seen it before on a wooden fence. This one's an RPM as well, a split upper serif. You've seen it in wood before where someone was trying to hit a nail and they missed and they hit the fence instead. Imagine having carved initials in the end of that hammer. Every time you hit the wood, it's going to leave those initials in the wood where the hammer hit. That's exactly what we're talking about here. This is hitting metal with a die. Anything that was impressed on that die or anything that developed on that die through that die's use. See, like this little raised line right here? This little raised line right here was in this die probably when it started minting coins. It comes all the way over here. You got a little raised line. That's probably some sort of it would be an indentation in the die. So when the die was hubbed, it may have had a little fiber on there or something when the die was hubbed, and that caused this little impression to show up in the die, which is a little raised line on the coins. Well, all of the coins minted by that die have that line. So I can identify this coin to another coin made by the same die by comparing that line right there to another coin, and we will know that they were made by the same die. Pizza dough, that's right, Parvis. Here's Taco John. Modeling clay, Play-Doh, all sorts of things. Anything that's malleable and takes on even lead. So there's a die scratch right up there, right above the eye, right on the eyebrow. Every coin struck with this die during this particular time in its life is going to show that same mark. And we know this does not belong to the same die as the last coin because, well, my line on the neck is not there. Shoulder, neck, lapel, collar, whatever you want to call that area. On the body of Lincoln. Okay, this one is not an RPM. I'm watching for that marker to come back up again. That's so we can take a comparison. I can show you that when you see that die again, you will recognize it. Here's number 37, Jim Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher, number 37. Let's see what he gets. Is it an RPM? No. Unfortunately, 'tis not. It didn't even have that raised line on it. This one has a raised area up here on the forehead. You can see that. You can also see a raised dot right in front of the bridge, or actually the, what do they call this part? I guess the brow. Yeah, right in front of the brow. You can see that little raised area. That's going to be on this die, which is not the same as the die that had the mark on the, I'm going to call this the collar. So this is the collar, this is the coat collar, this is the shirt collar, the coat collar, and this down here is the lapel. And then the shoulder, and the vest, and a bow tie. That's the anatomy of the bottom of Lincoln's bust on the Lincoln cent. As for those who have as much trouble with the English language as I do, can use that kind of a refresher once in a while. There's one for Bo Palmer, Mr. Bo. Let's see what Bo Palmer gets. Is it an RPM? It is not. Not an RPM. Check the other areas of our coin. See if we have anything here. And it appears we don't. I'll flip it over and look at the reverse real quick. And we're running out of time for the broadcast to be done on time. We'll catch up, though. We'll catch up with the next roll. Here's number 39. Sissy. Miss Atwell, let's see what you get. There's a small split upper serif. You can tell that serif, see that angle to the top corner of the serif? It's an angle that matches the angle of my hand right now. That tells me that isn't a point. It's 2 points glued together, basically. And so I can see that that's a repunchment mark there. And one paying very close attention would notice that this is a clash mark of the C in cent. But this little clash mark right here would also match up and give you a knowledge that you have, once again, a marker. Penny hoarder. And it's looking pretty normal for penny hoarder. Let's check the reverse side. Take a look at the reverse. And no. Next week I'm going to have a number of really nice rolls. But to get involved, you're going to have to be able to be at the show where I'm going to sell those spots. And normally it would be on Monday, which would be Labor Day this week. So we're not going to do it on Monday. We're actually, instead of having a Sunday auction, we're going to do a Sunday reveal show. So the reveal show will be Sunday this week. I've got 8 new rolls coming up for next week. There's going to be a 1939 plain roll. BU. There will also be a 1940 D roll, just to name 2 of them. There's one for Eric. So yeah, no auction this weekend. But the reveal show will be Sunday evening. We will be broadcasting from the Copper Coins Florida office near Port Charlotte, Florida. Here's number 43 for Deanne. And Deanne gets I'm going to have to go with nothing on this one. The little office in the south. That's right. You have the southern office, and then you have the office in the south. There's a difference. North Carolina is a southern state. Florida is a state in the south. It is not southern. Close. Got a late die state coin here. This is a very late die state. And you can see that because the design elements are basically worn out. It's a little moderate struck through there. A little piece that was struck into the coin broke out. And a very late die state reverse as well, which is kind of what I expected. All right, so that's number 44. 6 coins left in this roll. Here's coin number 45. It is now 7 o'clock, so this is the time that our other show was supposed to start, but we are still here. That's my fault. But we'll get caught up. Now, this one, another one of our late die state coins. I don't think we're going to see anything on this. We're going to give it a shot anyway, right? Never hurts to look when looking's free. Yes, Kelly Ray. United States Air Force, 10 years. Yo, man. Actually, 9 years, 11 months, and 2 days, but who's counting? I certainly wasn't, since I had, almost 2 months of leave saved up at the end of my stint. So I took what's called terminal leave, which is basically you walk out the door and don't come back, but you walk out a little bit early and you get paid while you're out because you still had vacation saved. So I actually left a little more than 2 weeks before my last day in the military. Took that last little bit off just to have some fun. There we go. It's a nice southern split serif right up here. And you see it knocking off to the south right there. Nice little RPM. This one's for Mr. Birchman. Mr. Mike. He doesn't ever say anything in these shows. I don't know if he's there or not. Thank you, Josh. Hello, Carl. Well, we got to roll with a whole bunch of minor RPMs. Not much else, but I'm going to say a little less than half the roll. Just under half the roll is RPMs. Not great ones, just RPMs. There's a couple of them are pretty nice, though. Let's see. All right, nothing else on that one. Eric thinks I'm a house snob or something. I live in a bigger office space. I got room to spread out here. Yeah, but see, Eric, the difference is there's not 100,000 of my coins in your space. So I don't have to worry about how big or little yours is. If I can lay down flat and go to sleep, I will. Yeah, I ain't got nothing on this coin. Looks like another normal one. Can probably comfortably sleep 6 in my office. On the floor, of course, because I don't have a bed in here. That one's for Deanne. Now the last coin in the roll, coin number 50. This one goes to Eric. Eric gets the last one in this roll. Let's see what happens. Well, we do have an RPM here. It's a split serifs RPM. It's a little later dice date, but you can see the split in the lower serif if I've got it just like that. Let me come in just a little bit. It says the last coin in the roll, so it'll spend a little bit of time looking at it. And let's see. Let me bring my exposure up just a little bit. Now you can see it real well. There's that split lower serif. Yes, Eric's space has plenty of coins, but it doesn't have my 100,000 coins. My 100,000 coins take up a lot of room because I spread them out everywhere. Kind of like my ex-wife said. It's either me or the coins. Well, you kind of know the result of that. All right, here we go. There are the non-variety coins. Here are the variety coins. I'm just going to flip through the names real quick and let you look at them. Oh, I got 3 more. Here's another 2. Oops. Not used to where my cameras are anymore. And this one we were going to look at to see if it is anything. We're not really sure. Looks like it could be a die variety. Maybe a kind of a latent, just a little latent bit of doubled eyelid maybe. Alright, and this is what I do when I'm done with these. And gonna take off here. Be back in just a couple of minutes on reveal number 452. And go back out to the channel and find it and see me there. And I will meet up with you there. You guys have a good one.